Welcome to Learn to Speak Chinese. Today, we'll go over some essential vocabulary from HSK 4 Standard Course, Lesson 13, giving you all the details to use them correctly in real-life situations. These words are key for improving your Chinese fluency, so let's get started. First, 大概 and 也许 both mean maybe or probably, but they carry slightly different nuances. 大概 is often used when you have an estimate or a general idea about something, especially when there's some context or reason to believe it might be true. It's like saying, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening, but I'm not 100% certain. For instance, when you say 大概3点钟, about 3 o'clock, you're not sure exactly, but you have a rough idea. On the other hand, 也许 is more about uncertainty and possibility. It expresses a weaker degree of certainty, like maybe or perhaps. For example, 他也许会来, he might come, indicates a chance or possibility without much evidence to support it. So, 大概 is better for rough estimates, while 也许 is better for expressing uncertainty. Now, let's take a closer look at 大概 and 大约. Both mean approximately, but 大概 is more flexible. It's used for rough estimates, and it can be used for quantities, time, degree, or possibility. For example, 大概有10个人. There are roughly 10 people, gives a general idea but leaves some room for uncertainty. 大约 is more specific, often used for numbers or time when you're more confident in your estimate. For example, 大约下午3点, around 3 p.m. suggests a more precise estimate. So, use 大概 for rough estimates when you're not completely sure, and 大约 when you want to be a little more precise. Next, 来自 means to come from, and is used when talking about the origin or source of something or someone. This word is crucial for introducing where something is from, such as places, people, or even ideas. 来自 emphasizes the origin of a noun. For example, 我来自美国, I come from the United States, where you're stating the origin of yourself. Just be careful not to confuse it with 从, which is also from, but used more for direction or movement, like 从学校回家, from school to home. 便 refers to the number of times something happens, usually in a complete, repeated manner. It's used when the action is done several times from beginning to end, not partial repetitions. A common error here is using 便 for actions that are continuous or ongoing. For example, 我看了这本书3遍. I've read this book 3 times, indicates you've finished reading the book 3 complete times. You wouldn't use 遍 for things like 我去过5遍, I went 5 times. Instead, you would say 我去了5次, I went 5 times, because 遍 refers to a completed action in full. 吃惊 means surprised or shocked. It's not just for mild surprises, but for a more intense, often emotional reaction. You would use this word when something catches you off guard in a way that causes you to feel truly startled or shocked. For example, 她听到这个消息感到很吃惊. She was very shocked when she heard the news. This is a stronger word than just saying 我很惊讶. I'm very surprised, which could just mean being surprised without a strong emotional reaction. 吃惊 focuses on the feeling of surprise. 继续 means to continue and refers to carrying on with an activity that's already in progress. It's more about making a conscious decision to keep doing something, often after a break or interruption. For example, 我们继续学习中文. Let's continue learning Chinese means to keep going with your studies after starting. Be careful not to confuse 继续 with 持续, which also means to continue but implies an ongoing or uninterrupted action. 持续 focuses more on something happening over a period of time, like 这场雨持续了整个下午. The rain continued the entire afternoon. 继续 implies a decision to keep going with something you're actively involved in. 由 means by or from, and is often used in passive constructions to indicate who or what is responsible for an action. It's a bit more formal and shows the agent of the action. For example, 这是由他做的. This was done by him, where you'll highlights that he is the one who carried out the action. This word is particularly useful in written Chinese or formal speech. In comparison, 从 is used for direction, like 从学校回家, from school back home, where it's more about the source or movement, not the agent performing the action. 进行 means to carry out or to proceed, and it's used in formal contexts to describe activities or tasks that are being actively done or in progress. For example, 会议正在进行. the meeting is in progress, indicates that the meeting is ongoing. It's a word you'll often encounter in more official or academic settings. It's important not to confuse 进行 with 做, which means to do in a more casual sense. For example, 我做了这个报告. I did this report is more straightforward and used in everyday speech, whereas 进行 sounds more formal and can refer to things like 进行调查, to carry out an investigation. 错误 means mistake or error. This word is broad and can refer to any kind of mistake, whether it's small or big. For example, 我犯了一个错误, I made a mistake, is a common use. It's a general term for errors, and it doesn't carry a heavy judgment. It simply refers to something that went wrong. 错误 can also refer to a wrong decision or judgment. For example, 这是一个错误的选择. This is a wrong choice. 随着 means with or along with, but it's used in the context of changes or movements that happen together. It describes things that occur simultaneously or as a result of something. For example, 随着科技的发展, with the development of technology, indicates that as one thing, technology progresses, another thing is also changing or happening. It's often used in phrases about time, progress, or transitions. For example, 随着科技的发展，我们的生活变得更方便了. With the development of technology, our lives have become more convenient. Don't confuse 随着 with 和, which simply means and or with in a more literal sense, like 我和他一起去. I'm going with him. Finally, 稍微 means a little or slightly, and is used to indicate a small degree or extent of something. You use 稍微 when you want to downplay the intensity of something, whether it's a feeling, action, or quality. For example, 稍微有点冷, it's slightly cold, tells us it's not too cold, just a little. It's important not to overuse 稍微 when describing something more intense. For example, 稍微很累, slightly very tired, is wrong, use 非常, very, or 有点, a little instead. By understanding the deeper meanings of these words, you'll have a better grasp of how to use them naturally in conversation. Thank you and see you next time.